something. I feel like rapping again. Middle finger to thumb, I feel like snapping again. Let's get straight to it. Look, I know we just dropped something, but I feel like rapping again. Middle finger to thumb, I feel like snapping again. Souls on the floor, we rapping to win. I'm in a race with myself, and by now I'm lapping to win. Look, 100 miles and running, we on one. Got the spirit tucked, cause you know them demons gon' come. And we big stepping like feet 5 4 4. Playing season, stitching the seams. Bottom line, we gon' sow something. You know you feel it when you hear me spitting. Nah, clutch on your chest like, here I come Elizabeth. No conversation is frivolous. You hearing this? And my flow water like, welcome to my payment. A black man with a brain, that's a problem. Man, we used to snatch gays, now it's knowledge. Used to catch and throw strays off them products. But now we busting legal plays cause we conscious. It was 21 and lucky to be alive. Now we businessmen, trying to retire at 35. Man, we gentlemen, no more strippers. I want a bride and a seed that's gonna grow.
About to go live, about to go live. Nice teaching, about to go live. Part 2 last week, I'm about to go live. Ready? Couple minutes. Let's see people get in. Regardless, I'm going live about 5 to about 4 minutes.
Like that kid that hate clowns, dog, I ain't having it. Look, I don't put syllables together to try to seal my fate. It's encrypted in my walk, we just real it this way. I ain't faking in your music, I'm a specialist. Just listen to the words that I apply pressure with. And my metaphors and similes, they confederate. These are the things that I was gifted in the ghetto with. Gold rhyme patterns that they don't want to meddle with. And I'm shining with this ghetto gospel, dog. Look what my bezel, I got a message to bring.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. I encourage everybody to go back and watch the last video, but I'm about to go live and wait for the people come timing in. And I'm getting started.
I'm trying to give life in my music, turn these boys into men. While these junkies steady bought them for sin. Look, now I'ma say this one more time. I ain't wasting no more rhymes. We rapping Elohim to the fullest, and as long as I'm rapping, you devils will get no more shine. One. Right here. I got a complex, homie. A God complex. Yeah. Let's get it. Yeah. I'm too secluded for fame, ain't trying to be noticed. I need my space, that's how I maintain focus. Yes, sir. I keep my feet in the way. Rolling the dice, blind faith in your God complex, eternal life. After the worms have eaten everything of me while I'm at rest, I plan to be them, like right after I see them, like in the flesh. The stress and mental anguish here is off the chain. It's a drain, just trying to function in my mediocre lane. Still be tame enough to act like I ain't savage. Society won't be the front like I'm happy with being average. I can't join them just to get what they get on. For no debate, I choose to wait for a seat on the flying sauce. I'm like, for real though, Pete.
Yeah, I taught class 2 weeks.
They had a nerve to act like they're elite, but if you sleep, you let them sweep it under the rug and you'll accept it. All you got is who you are. Learn how to protect it. The tree of life is still waiting for us to choose it. I've been munching on a few leaves. You can hear it in my music. You know the way, you know the truth. Get on the path. It's the rap of one in search of learning divine math. I'm slowly exiting the system every day. I'm detaching from the anchors that be forcing us to stay. That's persuading us to think a certain way. Staying stuck with a dependence on their rotten food, afraid to get up. That's how the dragon made it. That's how he thrives, working through his global system, trying to take your very life. It's a masquerade of sick disguise, turning us to cows. Afraid to speak the truth to principalities and powers that devours every generation here. Even the bones, while we lust for what it shows us on the surface. Leave it alone. We feed our children to it. Look at the schools, they indoctrination stations. They implanting them with the rules. Then they look to see who they can use. Tell them that they smart, taking place them in a certain group, set their ass apart, and advance them into high learning. Walk them through the door. Tomorrow's leaders of corruption and oppressors of the poor. Only I can stop what's happening him alone. And they know it's prophesied that he's planning on coming home. When he do his own, Shema Israel, sing it loud. that we could be uplifted and he'll humble all the proud. Turn on the plowmen and vine dressers, ordered a committee, made the Gentiles to build the wasted cities. Wars no more. Who can envision peace on this planet? It's so hard to do in this world when all the odds are slanted and we take for granted Earth itself. It's all becoming clear. Man has no regard for Yah and his divine biosphere. I'm prepared to disappear from my defection from it all. I've got a complex, homie. I'm truly done with thinking small. I'm done with conforming just to fit amongst the peasants. I was marked from birth, have learned that I'm divine in my essence, but a captive here, doing the works of Abraham, the proof. Akish, a freaking beast, son of Israel, a Jew. I've got the glue and it connects what you have missed. It affects and corrupts all of this. I'm aware of all the risks, but I cannot continue like this. I know too much to cheer, but not enough to be like Yah. But eventually I will. I will, baby.
For I know that my Redeemer liveth,
Job 19,
and that he shall stand in the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we shall be called the sons of God. Therefore the world knoweth not us, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear when we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is.
God complex.
All right, we're going to go and get started. We're going to get started. All right. All right. 2 weeks ago, I opened this study with part 1 of Who Are You? This is part 2 of Who You Are. Who Are You? The title today is, same like 2 weeks ago, Do You Fit the Description? All right, yeah. We want to give all praises and the glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah. I'm your Ak, Eyal Ben Judah, and I'm coming. This is the voice of Yahweh, Las Vegas. These brothers, these are my brothers. I got a little saying that I say. When you in the voice of Yahweh, or if you are part of the voice of Yahweh, listen, these brothers is no other. We always there for one another, and we stand up for each other. All praises. And I'm asking the Most High to bless this lesson and to touch Rashiala that's scattered in the four corners of the face of this earth. All praises. I'm asking you to hold all questions, because I'm not a question person. I'm not going to answer. I'd rather teach my lesson. Hold all questions, or you can just send all your questions to, this is our email, voycamp@gmail.com. That's voycamp@gmail.com. And I encourage you to go and, like, once again, watch part one of this lesson, so you won't be confused or lost in this teaching. All praises. And I always like start off with something that we all shall remember or take in. In order to know where you're going, you need to know first who you are. Or my title, Who Are You? Once again, in order to know where you're going, you need to know first who you are. Or you can say my title, Who Are You? You know who you are. Like I say, I encourage you to go back and watch part 1 of this lesson. Then you won't be lost on this part 2. All praises. Like I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and every Hebrew Israelite is always coming. Our root scripture is Deuteronomy 28. Everyone. That's where we found our bloodline at. Every Hebrew Israelite should be their root or their foundation. That's what I'm saying. Their foundation should be Deuteronomy 28. And that's what the studies is about, Deuteronomy 28. Like I said, once again, go back and watch part 1. It was 2 weeks ago, and then so you won't be lost in what I'm teaching on you today. This is just a continue of that from 2 weeks ago. All right. Now, Yahweh Shai, the world ignorantly calling Jesus Christ, he said this in Luke 6:47 through 49 in the GNT. 47 say, anyone who comes to me and listen to my words and obey them, I will show them what he is like. 48 says, he is like a man who in a building his house, he dug deep and laid the foundation on rock. The river flooded over and hit that house, but couldn't shake it because it was well built. 49 say, but anyone who hears my words and do not obey them is like a man who built his house without laying a foundation. And when the flood hit that house, it fell at once. And what a terrible crash that was. Once again, I read Luke 6:47 through 49 in the GNT. Once again, I read Luke 6:47 and 49 in the GNT. Like I said, I found every Hebrew Israelite foundation should be Deuteronomy 28. That's where we find our bloodline. All right. And that's a little something I want to tell you. If you have some type of belief system, it should consist of 3 parts. 3 parts. A God, number 1. A good strong foundation, number 2, and rules. And the Hebrew Israelite rules are the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. You should have in every belief system. That's in our belief system. There's a Godhead in it. There's a good strong foundation, right? And you got to have some rules. Right? Every Hebrew Israelite rules are the law, statutes, and commandments. And that's where you'll find this in the Deuteronomy 28. All right? Once again, our title is, do you fit the description? Do you fit the description? In Deuteronomy 28, there are 43 curses, all related to how we are treated in the society today. The modern day biblical time. This is the modern day biblical time. I'm only speaking to, remember, the so-called blacks, the so-called Hispanics, and the so-called Native Americans. Right? These 43 curses are applied to the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and the so-called Native Americans. That's why it's titled, Do You Fit the Description? Right? Like I said, if you don't get confused, go back and watch part 1. Okay? All right. Now, today, Deuteronomy 28, we're going to be going over verse 29, 31, 33 through 34, 38 through 40, 42, and 44. 9 in total. I'm going to say it again. We are in Deuteronomy 28. We're going to go over verse 29, 31, 33 through 34, 38 through 40, 42, and 44. 9 in total. And we also exercise comparative text. So I'm going to be breaking it down. Some people don't either like the King James Version or don't understand the King Version. So I am going to be doing comparative text. All right? Or comparative translations. All right? So, first verse 29. We're going to hit first verse 29. Remember, do you fit the description? I'm only talking to a certain people. Do you fit the description? Okay, we're going to break this because, like I said, this is our foundation. So we got to break this down scripture by scripture, right? I think I did 6 scriptures last 2 weeks ago. This week I'm gonna hit 9. I'm gonna try to be, not too long winded, but hey, we're gonna go as the Most High lead. All right. All right. First scripture we're gonna read is verse 29, Deuteronomy 28:29. All right. I'm gonna read it in the King James first. Once again, do you fit the description? 29 say, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind grope in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Okay? And no man shall save thee. We want to, let me go ahead and read the comparative text. The comparative text that really breaks this, or really explains this in our language, right? Deuteronomy 28:27-29. No. Yeah, just 29, I'm sorry. Because I like looking it up in the Messenger, and sometimes the Messenger kind of merges the scriptures. But I'm more focused on 29. Okay, we're going to read 29. Deuteronomy 28:29. It says, you'll grope around in the middle of the day like a blind person, feeling his way through a lifetime of darkness. You'll never get to where you're going. Not a day will go by that you're not abused and robbed, and no one is going to help you. What nationality of people is going through this? Let's look at let's do what the definition word, dictionary.com, definition word of grope. Grope meaning to feel about with your hands. To feel about with your hands. Feel one's way. And another definition, to search blindly or uncertainly. This is, say for instance, it's like if you cut the light switch off and it's dark and you feeling around and you can't see, and all the lights out, you can't see nothing. That's how we feel. I know that's how I feel from time to time. Let me do this. Hold on, because notifications on my phone. Put this down. Okay. Yeah, I know if you are so-called black, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native, it just feel like it's just the world is just crashing it all the time. Seems like you get ahead and then something happened, but like I say, we fit the description. They say, do you fit the description? We just fit the description of that. I'm not too much concerned about other nations because I know these 3 different nations feel this because we are the Israelites of the Bible, right? So I'm gonna say the definition again. Grope means to feel about with your hands, feel one's way. Another definition, to search blindly or uncertainly, like you walking around in the darkness, in a room or a room you don't know, and the lights go out. I know that's the way I feel from time to time, right? We're gonna go to verse 31. Verse 31. And it reads in the Deuteronomy 28:31 in the KJV. Once again, do you fit the description? If you don't fit the description, if you're a nation of people that don't fit the description, just keep on rolling. This ain't for you, okay? And once again, anybody got any questions? I'm not taking nobody questions. You can always hit us up on our email, okay? I'm just teaching. That's it. Deuteronomy 28:31 says, thy ox shall be slain before thy eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thy ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemy, and thou shalt thou shalt not have none to rescue them. Right? Like, what is that talking about, AR? Like AR? Let's do comparative translations. Okay? Let's do the comparative translation 31. Once again, the Message translation just did it right for me. Deuteronomy 28:31. Okay. It says, Listen to what this say. It say, you watch your ox get butchered and not get a single steak from it. Your donkey will be stolen from in front of you, and you'll never see it again. Right? Your sheep will be sent off to your enemies, and no one will lift a hand to help you. And you know something, it brought me to remember Black Wall Street? Some say, well, y'all didn't do this and you could have got together. No. I know everybody remember. If you don't know what Black Wall Street, look it up. It was us trying to get our own cities, our own everything, and every time another nation would come to destroy us, right? But the thing about it, if you look up Black massacres, go look it up online. Black massacres, it was 20 plus cities that we try to build. Or we did have them going, and guess what? A nation came and destroyed them. It's called Google it, Black massacres. Let me read that in the message again. Deuteronomy 28 and 31, right? Listen, it say, you'll watch your ox get butchered and not get a single steak from it. Your donkey will be stolen from in front of you, and you will, and in front of you, and you'll never see it again. Your sheep will be sent off to your enemies, and no one will lift a hand to help you. We ain't got no armies and this and that. It said I got it here. You will build a house and never live in it. Huh? You'll plant a garden and never eat so much of a carrot. Ain't that what happened with Black Wall Street? Or it said it was 20 plus cities. Black massacre. Every time we start something, we don't have an army to fight no one, but they destroy it. Right? It's only fit a certain people. Do you fit this description? If it ain't filling you, if that's history, that's back in the day. Well, I'm bringing it up to modern day biblical time. We're in the modern day biblical time. Bringing it up. Just give me a minute. Now we're going to read verse 33 through 34. Right? Deuteronomy 28, 33, 34. Listen to this. This is in the KJV. The fruit of the land, of thy land, in all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away. 34 say, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thy eyes, which thou shalt see. Wait a minute, that's KJV. Okay, break that down. Okay, break it down for us. We're gonna go do the same scripture in the GNT, Deuteronomy 28, 33 and 34. Let's see if this hit. I'm throwing rocks, and if it hits you, it hits you. Listen to what these say. Listen to these in the GNT, Good News Translation. 33 say, a foreign nation will take all the crops that you have worked hard for to grow, right? While you receive nothing but constant oppression and harsh treatment. 34, listen to this. Your suffering will make you lose your mind. Your suffering will make you lose your mind. Listen to this. Let's keep going. I found some precepts that I wanted to add to this, right? He said, listen, that 34 said, your suffering will make you lose your mind. Sometimes we feel like we losing our mind. Look, go to Psalms 83, 2 and 3 in NLT. Psalms 83, 2 and 3 in the NLT. Let me read these right quick. Let's say it one more time. Psalms 83, 2 and 3 in the NLT. Listen to what 2 say. Don't you hear the uproar of your enemies? Don't you see what your ignorant enemies are raising up? 3 say, they devise crafty schemes against your people. They conspired against you, precious ones. Right? Our enemies are the people that's over us, govern us, are destroying and everything we're trying to do because they copy off everything we do, right? It's a group of them. It's a bunch of them. If you're not part of the 12 tribes, everybody else is your enemy. You got it? Everybody else your enemy. And like I say, I like to one of my favorite movies was Baby Boy, right? And you can relate to this. It seems like every time, or we always trying to get over. We always trying to, how they say, rob Peter to pay Paul, that stuff. Stuff just don't, we got to go do bad things just to put some food on the table or just feel good, right? I remember the scene in Baby Boy. Remember Baby Boy told P that he said, what was the scene when he was standing up? He said, commerce. To P, he said, commerce, chains of goods and services. You remember, if you watch Baby Boy, you know what I'm talking about. You remember the one scene that as soon as he started getting a business for himself, remember he went up to the Israelite, one of the Mexican brothers, and he started his business. But he wasn't doing no legit business, but he said, I ain't going to go work a regular job, right? So who would he go buy that dress from? And somebody had owned whatever they was putting them clothes at, but the Israelite was in the back of that truck, and Judai was in there. He was, hey man, he gave him a little money, got a couple of dresses, and he was out. Jody was selling weed at first, but he said, no, I'm gonna make my stuff legit. I'm gonna make some money. Then he went into the lady's establishment, and he started selling his clothes. Look what we have to do to get over as a people. You always gotta hustle. Or I ain't gonna say some of us ain't doing something legit. I'm just saying that sometimes we gotta go. And Jody didn't go all the way to the left. He said, I'm gonna still do this, but I'm gonna still do that, just to get over. Maybe he bought the Rams for his girl and his baby. He was happy they had clothes. Listen, that's sometimes we gotta do that because they take everything from us. Let me keep going. I got caught up because that was one of my favorite movies. Okay, now we're gonna do verse 38 through 40 and 42. Deuteronomy 38, 28, Deuteronomy 28, 38, verse 38, 40 through 42. Okay? We'll do those 3 scriptures. All right. Let's read the KJV first. You know, it's going to be some distinctive words, or 3 key words in this. And I'm going to break these 3 key words down. It's going to be real helpful on where we're at right now. It's going to be 3 words. You're going to hear the word in these scriptures. You're going to hear locust. You're going to hear like a word grasshopper or worm, right? And I'm going to tell you what that represents, right? You're going to hear the word wine and olive tree. I'm just saying, those are 3 key words. The locust, the grasshopper and worm is pretty much, that's the same thing. It's 1, and then you got the wine, that's 2. And then you got the olive tree, that's 3. But I'm going to break them down. But let me read this right quick. Deuteronomy 28, 38 through 40 and 42. This one I'm about to read in the KJV. It says, thou shalt, now you talk about the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, okay? Let's not get it twisted. I'm not talking about nobody else, no other people. Just bear with me. I'm going to break those 3 distinctive words down through scripture, okay? Listen. Once again, Deuteronomy 28. We on Deuteronomy 28, who are joining in. And then 38 through 40 and 42. 38 says, thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but a little in, for the locust shall consume it. Listen, 39 said, thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shall neither drink of the wine nor gather the grape of the worm, shall eat them, for the worm shall eat them. 40 says, thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit. 42 say, all thy trees and fruits of thy land shall the locust consume. Okay, that's some heavy stuff. Hey, okay, y'all show us what that means. We going now. I found once again the Message Bible kind of broke this down to me. Okay, we do comparative translation. If you don't like doing we like to do over at the Voice of Yahweh. We like to do comparative translations. Okay, we're gonna read the same thing in the Message, Deuteronomy 28, 38 through 40 and 42. This what 38 said. You'll plant sacks and sacks of seeds in the field, but get almost nothing. Holes in your pocket, right? Holes in your pocket. The grasshopper will devour it, right? I have found the scripture that kind of like, man, piggyback this. Haggai 1:6. This is another precept. I liked it, right? I like this precept. Haggai 1:6 in the NLT, New Living Translation. Okay, I'm gonna read it. Haggai 1:6. It say, you have planted much, but harvest little. You eat, but you are not satisfied. You drink, but you still thirsty. You put on clothes, but cannot keep warm. Your wages disappear as though you were putting them in a pocket filled with holes. I just had to plug that one in there because that went well with 38. Okay. And then we're still in the Message Bible. We're gonna read 39. I just had to plug Haggai in there. Haggai fit that 38 well. Okay. Let me read 39. Deuteronomy 28, 39. It says, you'll plant a whole and pure vineyard and pure prune vineyard, but won't drink or put up any wine. The worm will devour them. Right? 40 say, you'll have groves of olive trees everywhere, but you will have no oil to rub on your face and hands. Huh? The olives will have fallen off. I'm gonna break it down. Hold on. 42. Locusts will take over all your trees and crops. Let all break this down right quick. Remember, I said it's 3 distinctive words. I got to break them down for you, okay? And I'm gonna use the text to do it, okay? Let's go with these are the 3 key words. Remember, I said the number 1 key word was locust. The same thing as grasshopper and worm. That's 1. Wine is the second key word. That's 2. And olive tree is the third word. That's for number 3. Okay. Let me break them 3 things: the locust, the wine, and the olive tree. Okay. Now, what does a locust represent? Let's find out. Locust. I found this in Joel 25. I mean 2 and 25. Joel 2 and 25. Joel 2 and 25 in the NLT. Listen to this. We got to find out what this locust represent. You're gonna be amazed. Okay, Joel 2:25 in the NLT. The Lord say, I will give you back what you lost to the swarming locust, the hopping locust, the stripping locust, and the cutting locust. It was who I sent this great destroying army against you. Let me read that again. Joel 2:25 in the NLT. It say, the Lord say, I will give you back what you lost to the swarming locust, the hopping locust, the stripping locust, the cutting locust. It was I who sent this great destroying army against you. What? Yes, the locust represents, you know what the locust represents? The worm, the locust, grasshopper. It's armies, nations of people, other nations to destroy and interrupt our way of life. The so-called blacks, the so-called Hispanics, and the so-called Native Americans. The Most High allowed this. And guess what? He allowing it right now today. They say, why is that? Because we ain't doing the law, statutes, and commandments. We're not doing the law, statutes, and commandments, so all this stuff is coming down on us. So-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans. Okay? Second key word is wine. I found this in Genesis 27 and 28 in the once again the NLT, New Living Translation. Let's see what this wine represents. 28 say, Genesis 27, 28 say, from the dew of heaven and the riches of the earth, may God always give you abundance, harvest of grain, and bountiful of new wine. Wine symbolizes prosperity. Because we're not doing the law, statutes, and commandments, that's held up. Do this fit the description? We find out who we are in the Bible. Deuteronomy 28 only fit a certain people. Now, number 3 key word is olive tree. It's 2 separate olive trees that I found in the Bible. Okay? 2 separate olive trees that I found in the Bible. I'm going to read the first one. You'll find out who this first one is. Jeremiah 11 and 16. Once again in the NLT. NLT been knocking it out the ballpark for me this time. I had the message early, but NLT been knocking it out the park. Jeremiah 11, 16. Jeremiah 11 and 16 in the GNT. It says, I found 2 different types of olive trees. Let's get it. I, the Lord, once called them a thriving olive tree, beautiful to see, and full of good fruit. But now I have sent the fury of their enemies to burn them with fire, leaving them charred and broken. Talking about the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans. We weren't doing this law, statutes, commandments. Like I say earlier, the Most High did all this because we're so hard-headed, stiff-necked. We're some stiff-necked people. How we say, can't get right. Life can't get right. We go back and forth. We trying to figure this out. We play around with other Christian, I want to say the other churches and this, that, and the third religions. That's what I'm trying to say. And we are missing who we really are. The Israelites, we coming out. It's like a beach ball. You push under the water and it forces its way back up. It's coming out. And you say you're woke. Yeah, we're waking up. But this fit us right here. Let me read Jeremiah again, 11 and 16 in the NLT. It said, I, the Lord, that's the Most High, once called them a thriving olive tree, beautiful to see and full of good fruit. But now I have sent the fury of their enemies to burn them with fire, leaving them charred and broken. Who feel charred and broken? That's the first olive tree I found. It's talking about the Israelites. Let's go to the second one. Let me get it, because I got some more stuff. Okay, Zechariah 4 and 3 and 11 and 14. Zechariah 4 and 3 and 11 and 14 in the NLT. 3 reads this. Listen to what it says. This is I found, like, again, I found olive tree in here, and it represents something. The first one was the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and the Native Americans. Okay, this is the second one. Zechariah 4 and 3 and 11 through 14 in the NLT. It says, I see 2 olive trees, one on each side of the bowl. 11 says, then I asked the angel, what are these 2 olive trees on each side of the lampstand? 12 said, and what are the 2 olive branches that pours out golden oil through 2 gold tubes? 13 says, he said, I don't know. He asked. No, my Lord, I replied. 14. This is 14. This is bringing it on home. 14 say, and then he said to me, they represent the 2 anointed ones who stand in the court of the Lord of all the earth. Break that down out there, y'all. Now, that was Jeremiah and the Most High. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you what these 2 olive trees represent that we don't have in our communities. Listen, I'm going to ask y'all, where's our leaders in our communities today? Because we're lacking anointed leadership, which cause us to have no guidance in our communities. Most time we got to go out and go live amongst the other nations just to feel like something, right? Because all of this is gone, right, from us. It got stripped. So these olive trees represent people. People. We don't have good leadership, but the Hebrew Israelite is the best leadership ever. Getting our families back together. Huh? Getting our families back together. And what about the Christian church? Let's run about the pastors and this and that. There's a problem because the Bible talks against it. Let's go over to Acts 7 and 48. Acts 7 and 48. Because where the pastors be at? In the buildings, right? Acts 7 and 48, and Acts is almost identical. Acts 17:24. Acts 7:48 and Acts 17:24. I'm gonna read it. 48 said, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples that's made with hands, as saith the prophets. Acts 17:24 say, God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples that's made with hands. We can't put the Most High and all his glory in a building. This is Bible. They must have liked it enough because it said it twice. Now, who's standing for the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans? He didn't tell us to be in no buildings. This is what he said in Luke 14 and 23. Luke 14:23. Luke 14 and 23 says, and the Lord said unto the servant, go out unto the highway and hedges and compel them to come in. My house may be filled. It's not in a building. I can see if you live like east and it's cold and you do have a building. Well, I'm out in the west, we in Las Vegas, so we could stand outside year round. Year round. I can understand that. That's I understand. I ain't all I'm saying is he told us to go out and go get them. Go out. He ain't say sitting in no building. Y'all go back and read Acts 7 and 48 and Acts 17. See, he ain't dwelling, he don't even dwell in them places that's made by hands. Huh? Okay, let's go to verse 44, Deuteronomy 28 and 44. Deuteronomy 28, 44 say, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. I found this in this. I found this one in the CEV. I found this in the CEV. Deuteronomy 28, 44. It say, you will be so short of money that you will have to borrow from those foreigners, our enemies. They will be the lenders in the community, and you will be the followers. Seems like we always broke, always lacking money. You know, they always taxing us. Listen. You know how we get our taxes every year? Every year we get them taxes, don't we? We give it right back to them, don't we? Why? Because we buying stuff that we couldn't have all year because we can't make it. But with the tax money come in, right? And we can't, with stuff we can't afford all year. We make sure we get it around tax season. We give it all right back to them. We paying off debt. It's a perpetual cycle every year. Every year. Can't save none of it. Who fit the description? Who fit the description? But I'm gonna encourage all of us to Rosh Hashanah, so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans to really figure out who you are in the Bible. That's what we're missing. Once we find out who we are in that Bible, man, in order to know where you're going, you need to know who you are. That's the problem. We don't know who we are. We don't know who we are. And we most definitely don't put ourselves in the Bible. We put ourselves as Gentile. That's a whole nother topic, but we're not. We're the people of the Bible. Once we figure this out, tap the other fellow man on the shoulder and let him know the same thing, and tap it the next one, and so on and so forth. Man, we can get ready to get on out of here. But this fit the description of us. We always got the locusts and the worms and the just the other nations just destroying. They copy off everything we do though, because we the top tier. But since we didn't put ourselves at the bottom, we at the bottom. We're down there just groping, trying to find out who we are. Well, I'm what do you say? I'm African American. You already know that's made up. I think it was in the 80s, but no, that's a whole nother topic. But I'm just saying that's not us. It's all by names. You can look it up. Look at the chart. Look at the Hebrew Israelite chart, and that's who you really are. We're not gonna go off into that. But I'm trying to make sure and let you know, do you fit the description right here? Do you fit the description? Huh? I ain't gonna bore you much longer, right? I hope I taught you something today. Like I said, every other week or every week, we're gonna bring you something. We gotta wake our people up, okay? We gotta wake our people up. We got to get up. We got to like I said, we got to know who we are. Once we find out who you are in that Bible won't be so boring. Huh? And you got other comparative translations that'll break that thing down for you, and you ain't got no excuse not to read this word. It's all the same. It's just broken down in a translation that you can understand it. Most I did that for us. Most I created everything. Okay? But in closing, once again, I'm A.R. Ben-Judah from the Voice of Yahweh in Las Vegas. I just want to hit you with this closing. My closing precept is Ecclesiastes 12, 13 and 14. It said, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For this is the whole duty of man." 14 said, "God shall bring every work unto judgment with every secret thing, whatever is good or whether it's evil." I'm gonna leave you with that one. Huh? Like I said, I'm A.R. Ben-Judah from the Voice of Yahweh, Las Vegas. And listen, and for our Hispanics and Spanish speaking Israelites, you can follow us here right on YouTube. This is at LAVOZDE Yahweh. It's YAHAWAH -DY4FY. Okay. Once again, that's for our Spanish speaking brothers and sisters. Is at LAVOZDE YAHAWAH -DY4FY. You can also follow us on the Voice. The Voice is Voice of. Put them two words together. Yahweh. Our email is awesome. Once again, our email is VOY camp CAMP @gmail.com. Got it? And you can also follow me on TikTok. I'm AR Israel King 12. I make videos about this Israelite life. Once again, it's AR AYALISRAEL King KING 12. That's where I make videos, and from time to time I do make them, but I make videos and it's talking about this Israelite life. All right. Now I'm done. Until we meet again, I gotta salute you once again. If you don't understand this video, go back 2 weeks ago. I did part 1. This is part 2. So go back, check it out, and then you can catch up with this. Like I said, it ain't long. Try to do an hour or less than an hour. I ain't trying to keep you on here too long. But like I say, until we meet again, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatah, all praises.